Expert Channel TV. Today I am delighted to welcome a very special guest. She's a leading voice on the topic of truth, and we're going to be able to get to know her a bit better, her fascinating journey, the amazing work she's doing, and very importantly, the Golden Door Awards, which is her latest initiative, and she's going to be able to share everything about it. So everybody, welcome to Expert Channel TV. You know, every show we put out is a two-way conversation. So please engage, please let us know if you have any questions. Let's share your insights. We want to start conversations with our viewers, and we really appreciate you being here. So my guest today is a truly phenomenal character. She is a woman of many talents. She's a technologist, she's a futurist, she is a best-selling writer, she is an entrepreneur, and we are going to be welcoming her in a few minutes. But before I bring her on screen, I do want to share something with you. So the reason we're doing this interview today, and the reason we have decided to host the Golden Door Awards, is because we truly believe in the mission behind these awards. It's funny because we don't often get the chance to be involved in a mission, in a project, an initiative that matches our own mission so well. Within all the differences, we're using different media, there's different dimensions to both projects, but here's the thing, we are both looking for the truth. We are in a quest to find the truth amid so much misinformation. It's actually a tragedy that living in the era of information, it sometimes feels like it's the era of misinformation. So without further ado, let's welcome Tahira Amir Khan. Welcome to Expert Channel TV. I'm so happy you're here today with us.
Hi, Melanie. I'm so glad to be here. And it is so true that we have actually reached a peak, a tipping point in this misinformation. We are in a world of misinformation, which ultimately actually means that organizations who are thinking forward would want to focus on truth, just like yours, just like our organization, even though we look at it from different platforms. Okay, so yes, we have reached a tipping point, and especially with this coronavirus situation, I think people have really lost, really frustrated. And yeah, before I go into all that, I want to share more about myself and how we came to this point, actually.
Exactly, yes, because looking at your story, at your journey, one would think that you have lived many lives in one. So can you share a bit about that story, about that journey?
Oh, that's a very interesting point of view that you have. Actually, it's true. I have led to date, I would say, 2 lives. And the first life, I would say the first 20 over years, purely advising governments, technology as a technologist, e-government expert, traveling around Asia, Middle East. I used to travel with the ministers, working out the framework for governance, consultant for the Ministry of Defense. It was big projects, mega projects, and really serving government. But then I went to this other world, which actually represents who I am inside as a humanitarian. So I was busy serving the government, but inside me was a person who wanted to serve the people. So this life, which I'm leading right now, is really working out frameworks for a better world for people, not for the government, but for corporate. So it's a radical change. It was actually very hard for me to make that switch. It was shocking for the people I was working with. I was, as of 2014, was my last phase in that, which was not too long ago. lessons, 5 years, 5+ years. So I was president of the biggest mobile innovation society in Singapore, which was an initiative with the government. And my committee were all the heads of telecommunications, and mobile phones and mobile innovation. I was the judge for for the first mobile app competition in Singapore with the government. We were we were also advising on new tech. You're talking about 5G now, right? 2014 was 4G, and of course we knew about 5G that time very much. But I grew tired of serving the big guys and really not looking at what we were heading towards in terms of the direction of the planet. Deep inside, I am a kind of person who's interested of the whole planet. I'm born Singaporean, but I've never really thought of myself as a person who's patriotic to a country. I've always looked at the whole planet. Are we heading the right direction? Are we happy as citizens of this planet? Are we evolving as human beings? Is it all about money? Is it all about technology? Not really. It's about us moving our version upgrade as humans, our version upgrade instead of technology version upgrade. So I was more concerned about the human technology. So so I reached that point that I wanted to go into an area that was closer to the truth. I faced deception. I was forced to, when you deal with mega projects, sometimes you're forced to carry out bribes. I didn't want to go into that at all. There was a lot of deception. The ones who take a certain path can make millions. Those who want to take a more honorable, pure path do not. There was also a situation, I think that was a tipping point for me, when I did tell my committee, and I said, we are pushing technology. We're pushing technology. The government is saying, have sensors in every building. But I said, we also need to tell the public that health is also important. So let's balance. There should be education on how you protect yourself. The effects of 5G, 4G, and all that affects your health. And don't forget, 1 in 3 people in certain countries have cancer. So anyway, all these things. So it's about a fine balance. So then when they said to me, no, it's all about pushing technology, just pushing, making money, I said, this is not who I am. This is not who I can make a lot of money, but not really happy with this. So then I finished my term as president. And then I went into sort of a, inward journey. Went to Bali, stayed in, Malaysia, went to Pakistan. My family roots are in Pakistan, my mother's side. Went there, stayed in the colonies, which probably has like maybe 50 people only. And through that journey, I think about few years of not really earning anything. Not really earning anything. It's okay, fine. But there was revelation after revelation. I went very much into the spiritual, God guiding me who I truly was. And I discovered that all my contacts in governance, my contacts in business, how do I use it in a way that I can help bring all this, what I've already been given, into making the world, the marketplace, better, more human, closer to truth. How do I do that? I battled that for years. How do I do that? It's a big challenge. But I kept pushing forward. I wrote my book. My committee came for my book launch, and they were very curious. How come I was writing a spiritual scientific book? about our advancement. And I had leaders of like banks buying my book, so a kind of unusual crowd. And when I became a writer, then I saw another field of deception. Because I found that the books that were doing really well are the ones which followed a trend, which what could sell. It's an entertainment business.
Mm.
Okay, so the great material content, I realize it all boils the same thing. It's about content. What the world wants, the publishers will take it because they want to sell material. They want to sell books. They want to sell, whatever it is, magazines, etc. So, and I realized I spoke to some of the top literary people. I just got hold of them. I said, what happens to the great stuff, the great material, the truth? I said, no. They say, it's like entertainment business. It's what, if a person is a famous journalist, even though she may not have any substance, people will buy that book. I'm sorry, but that's an example. It's a reality. But there'll be so many great unknowns out there, uncovered, that totally you can't find them. So it's all about the same thing. So the misinformation, sometimes it's with the sizzle and all that, it stands out. And if we keep moving that direction, what kind of world would become? We already have that problem. And as human beings, when you're brought into this world, the first two things we're influenced by is what we read and what we hear, the spoken word from our parents, from our family, and etc. And what we read this from children. So the spoken word and the written word is so important. So if we can just look at 50% of, the half of it, which is the written word, and bring that closer to the truth as much as possible by encouraging people to boldly write their truth instead of writing based on what will sell a lot, because that's what they say. Oh, this will sell really well. I'm going to write about that. That should not be the way.
Mm.
Write based on who you are and what's your message for the world, because we're all messengers. If you really tap onto what's within us, we're all messengers in various levels. Just like yourself, you have your role to play. I have my role to play. But the only thing that's holding us back is not having the courage and falling back to how the world works. It's so easy to just fall into that system. So I thought, I discussed with the top literary people in Singapore. Our current chief judge is Dr. Kirpal Singh, who is the first Asian director of the Commonwealth Essays, the global organization, and he is the poet laureate. He's the most premier literary person. So I got in touch with him. We build a good friendship. I've shared everything with him. I said, I'm a technologist. I'm giving you my thoughts. I knew I'm totally new to writing field. It's just been a year. I just published my book. It's been a year. But I want to give you my insights. And he said, you're absolutely right. Technology, websites, Facebook, social media, Twitter, books, it's all content. There is a fine line. There's a fine line now. You can't even see the line anymore. A blog in social media post could be 200 words, 100 words. Sometimes, many times it goes into a book. So ultimately he said, yes, what is going to encourage people to be truth writers? And I said, we need to, instead of acknowledging the great creative skills, why don't you acknowledge those who write their truth, whatever it is, and encourage them to be courageous. And not to think that it is going to divide countries or divide people. Not necessarily. It can bring people together. Look at misinformation. This is a misinformation world. Look how divided our world is.
Yes.
When we have more truth writers, we will also have more truth tellers. It's all the same thing. Many writers are speakers. I've noticed that. As I got involved in the writing field, like I said, I spent 20 over years in tech, and I was very new to writing. To go into being a full-time writer in your 40s, not easy. Not easy at all. But then you realize that truth writers will be truth speakers, truth tellers.
Yes.
And then we should also encourage them to create, and whatever they're speaking, writing and speaking about, to make it a reality. It's a domino effect.
Yes.
So really, this Golden Door Awards is for the future generation. It's the objective we're thinking of is that how can we start creating, encouraging, raising up these truth writers out there, truth speakers, and truth creators. Now, Singapore government launched a law, a misinformation law. I don't know if you heard about it. Minister Shanmugam, the Minister of Law, announced it in 2018, around late 2018, and he said that there should be a control on the misinformation. Mm-hmm. And that was about the same time when actually I wrote to him, and I said to him, I wrote him about after that in 2019. I wrote to him and I said, "What a wonderful compliment! Besides the law, is to have an awards to encourage, because in the law you control, okay, fine, there's control, but when a country evolves, you actually you don't try to have more laws, see, because people evolve, you encourage, you reward. So a less developed country would need to have more laws, because people are not that evolved. Singapore, when it first started, as a young country, Lee Kuan Yew put in a lot of laws, fines, the no littering, etc. But now I would never I would never litter. I think there was a $500,000 fine at that time. Now they don't really have that, because people have evolved. So it really is a complement to control. I mean, it's the opposite of control. Through a law, it is to raise up. That's the objective of Golden Door Awards. It's not just applauding. No, actually, it's beyond that. It's a platform. So myself, being a person who is new to writing, and I was able to go full time into writing because I had great success with my book, thank God. And the Golden Door, really, my first book, Through the Golden Door, represents the Golden Door is the Golden Door of truth. And I sort of, stumbled through the journey, and I figured out what I was supposed to do. And now I am bringing all my government contacts. This is how I'm doing it. From my previous life, I'm bringing my business leader contacts, my government contacts, to be involved in this. So we do have some members, NMPs, nominated members of parliament, who will be in the panel at the event. Ambassadors will be there. So, I figured it out how to bring this, I was very, very unsure. How could I do this? How do you bring something which is, you could consider truth as spiritual, it's esoteric. How do you bring that into the real world, the marketplace? That's very, very important right now. It's not good enough to be separate and sit and meditate. It's not good enough to just know about it for yourself. It has to go into the society. It has to go into the business world. It has to go into the publishing world. It needs to go into entertainment world. So that was the whole journey, and not easy at all. I'll tell you honestly, last year I really felt like giving up because Singapore has been sort of censorship, you know, but when you push forward and you have a good intention, when they saw that, okay, this is for good, we've reached a tipping point. It's the world, the whole world is confused and tired. I get messages now from people saying, I'm tired of this coronavirus messages. And there's so many conspiracy theories. Unbelievable.
Crazy.
They're blaming China, blaming US, blaming Russia, all sorts of things. Is it 5G? Is it vaccines? Is it the bats? All sorts of things. 5 strains. Okay, anyway, all sorts of things. Nobody trusts anyone anymore. Nobody wants to, they give up. Some have given up. Okay, whatever. That's not good. We need to have clear direction in our lives. How you move forward. Should I just give up social distancing? Okay, do whatever it needs to be done. We need to have clarity if human beings keep evolving, if we have more freedom and we have more trust. If we feel imprisoned, we don't feel. When there's so much information that is misguided, we feel imprisoned.
Yes.
So it really all comes together. You know, I feel it's a role of everyone now, in whatever they do.
Absolutely. Well, the thing is, we have all become information providers, and in a way that's great, but it's a huge responsibility, and that also has a downside, which is it makes information, or people misusing that information, or even corrupting that information, really dangerous. So I think as leaders, if you like, as information providers, we need to give people the tools so they can actually dissect that information and find their own truth, get to their own conclusions. I mean, that's what, like, as a channel, we try to do that. We just put out accurate and reliable information, because it is true that the more information we have, the more powerful we become and the freer we become. We cannot be free if we don't have information. But at the same time, because technology has made access to that information so easy, it's harder than ever to find the real, truthful information that bears no hidden agendas, because very often messages are supporting so many hidden agendas that in the end
Most
they
of them
become corrupt.
have an agenda. Most of them, it's the ego, it's the business agenda, it's the whatever agenda.
Exactly. And
People
as
are
we know, like humankind, we've always been on a quest to find truth. And yet, like nowadays, one thing that many people have even like given up on this quest. And I really don't know the reasons for that. I don't know whether you have an answer for that.
survival. They want to survive now. It's now, especially these past few months, getting through the day.
Yes.
That's a challenge for many people. Just in the US, 6 million applied for joblessness people. That's a lot. In India, 8,000 of the poor extra die on starvation every day. So when you're trying to survive, you don't care about all those things anymore. Those are all just luxuries. When you have the basics, when you can get through the day, then you start seeking more. Then you start looking for, okay, what more is there? What more can I do? What more can I discover of myself? So this is the problem, survival. And it's a huge challenge right now.
Yes.
So what can we do? What can we do? Encourage. Encouragement. People need encouragement. People need community. The Golden Door also is a community, is a platform. So we bring in all the truth writers, truth tellers. We have a community with them. We aim to have Golden Door, that's a vision, in every year a different city. So this year, Singapore is planned for September 5th. Hopefully everything is okay by then. Worst case, We will have to transform that into a virtual summit. Fine, doesn't matter. Adjust it accordingly. Next year, we'll have another country, a major city. So we want to make it encouragement, international, and to make it the flavor of the day. That is actually a great thing to be a truth writer. We want to make it the flavor, right?
And I love it how you have created this platform to enable truth writers,
Yes.
which are not mainstream, unfortunately, to become truth creators, because that's when real change can happen in the world.
Yes, it's not good enough to just write.
Mm.
We have to make things happen. And we want to make them like celebrities. They should be the new celebrities. I just saw this interesting Facebook post. The new celebrities should be the nurses and doctors and the essential workers. Think about it. In a way, and think about it that way. We need to celebrate them. That's what I mean by celebrities. You need to celebrate them and not always think of them as activists. You know, someone who's fighting for their rights. That activist sounds like a bad word for certain countries.
Yes.
Need to be celebrated. That's the objective of Golden Door.
Absolutely.
Be proud that I actually write for truth. I speak for truth. Proud of it.
Exactly. That's beautiful. And if we can learn one thing from this whole terrible situation the whole world is going through, I hope that we come out from this with lots of lessons. But if we can learn the one thing is that our priorities need to change, because we were making or giving celebrity status to things and people that not necessarily were meant to be.
Luxury, people who obsess with luxury. I love luxury also, but obsession is a different thing.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with luxury, but obsession is always the problem. Obsession with money, obsession with status, obsession with titles. Go back to the basics.
Yes.
Live a balanced life. Have enough, make money, but also give. Yes. Now we need to be givers. Now we need to speak truth, because otherwise we're never going to get out of this. It'll be miserable. It could be a very dark world. If we continue being misinformation, if we continue and all this confusion, it for certain communities be very dark, especially the less developed countries.
Yes.
Really feel sorry for them. And because I hear so many stories. I have families in the Middle East, in Pakistan, in India. So many stories. And yes, so and also because we don't know what's going to happen after this. We may not go back to what we were before. It won't be like this lockdown mode, but it'll be a bit more security, a bit more carefulness, right? It's overall. So the objective now is to celebrate the truth writers, truth tellers, and bring communities together. That's ultimately what it is. And to create a world that we know what's happening.
Yes, that is so important.
Because people don't know what's happening.
Exactly. This uncertainty is very disturbing.
Very disturbing.
But, yes, exactly. And there's that sense around, we can feel it. And I love how you say that and how you express truth. And the thing is, intertwined with this truth, and looking at your work, your body of work, I see like four main concepts that seem to be present all along your work, which is obviously the truth, and that's like the core, the essence of everything. I see integrity, I see advancement, and I see unity. How do those concepts interconnect in your work?
Yes.
And also with the awards, what is the connection there?
What is the connection of all those things? Basically, it would be like a recognition of all that. Okay, it is to recognize that it's a good thing.
Okay.
It's not something to be, that that you're fighting alone on this. And there is a body that actually celebrates this. So it's the recognition, the encouragement, and the platform.
Beautiful.
All those things. We have
Beautiful.
the Golden Globe Awards giving great celebration to actors. This is now great celebration for the truth writers. And
That's such a beautiful way to do it, because encouragement is what's going to make this movement grow. Encouragement can change the world. People need that encouragement, that's to feel safe that what they're doing is not weird or not interesting for people. There's
yes,
loads of people who are interested in reading that type of content, but
yes,
probably writers are not feeling safe enough to put it out, because as you were saying at the beginning, it's probably not commercial enough right
yes,
now.
it's always been commercial. And, writing is now become mainstream. Almost everybody is a writer.
Yes.
You are a writer, you write a blog, you write a social media post. We also have, in the next following years, we'll have even a social media post
Yes.
as part of the categories. So we have blogs/essays, we have books, we have poetry, but blogs included, even a vlog. So writing is mainstream now. You do it every day, almost everyone does it. And to celebrate it and to take it to a level that we reach a tipping point for truth.
Yes.
The opposite should happen. The opposite should happen. So
Mm-hmm.
that is something we can do through collaborations. You see, that's the reason why one of the partnerships we have with Expert TV is also to give the voice to the writers, those shortlisted writers. We're not just going to give them an award. The awards is in September. We're showcasing them now.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes, we're showcasing what they have to say now.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
the platform, but that's what it is.
Yes. And it is, let me tell you that it is an honor to be able to give them a voice, give them a platform, so we can shine light on the work they're doing. And
Yes,
for all our viewers, let me just tell you that over the next few days, you're going to be able to meet all the participants. We're going to ask them about their work, their inspiration behind their work, and we're also going to be able to meet the judges. And I think this is very unique, because usually when people put on awards, they tend to showcase the prize, which is obviously, a motivational aspect of an award. But I think getting behind the mission of that award, getting to know the founder, and getting to know the candidates, the participants, is the most important,
of
because
course.
that's the real engine of any type
Yes,
of award.
yeah, go back to the
Exactly.
heart of it.
Exactly. Yes, so
Yes,
I'm really
let's not focus
excited
on
to
the
be.
commercial. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
it's so easy to deviate. We have to look at everything. Go back to the heart of things. Go back to the human.
Yes, yes, exactly. And ditch the agendas. Just find your truth. We all have our own truth. It's about, life should be this journey to become better, to up level.
Yes,
You cannot just stay static.
mm,
I mean, that's not living. It's all about trying to find that truth, whatever it looks like, or whatever journey you need to
yes,
pursue to reach it. So
and
that's why
that's
it's so important. I mean, what you're doing is really, really, I think it's going to be actually life changing for many, probably for all the participants,
yes.
because nothing like this exists.
And what we did is that we combined truth with integrity.
Yes.
This is very, very important because some may come up with their own truth, but it's very deceptive.
Oh, yes,
go
exactly.
back, go back to
Yes.
integrity. Okay.
Well, truth without integrity, in a way, is misinformation.
Yeah.
So,
So it's very deceptive. Human beings sometimes we can deviate things. So truth and integrity.
yes.
Go back to integrity, and then so the opportunity of the shortlisted, I think the top 2021, and also the medal winners, nominees will have the opportunity to share, even though the top they are not the winners. We have the top winners, but we want to give the all those who've been shortlisted opportunity to be featured.
Mhm.
And yes, so even if they're not the final winners, but ultimately we see everyone as something special. Every one of them is something special. And yes, so the judges are hard at work deciding. It's they will share a little bit how they judge. It's a little bit different from the norm. How they measure how they measure the if they do the evaluation and all that. I will leave it to them to share. I'm not going to go into
Yes, exactly. We
that.
are going
Okay.
to
All
have
right.
all the judges. We are going to be doing a special panel discussion so we
Yes.
can learn what they're looking for in each participant, how they're going to
Yes.
evaluate, assess, because that's really
Right.
interesting. So
Yes.
yeah,
And we were also featured as, I think, the first Truth Awards, I believe so. I think because one of the feedback I got earlier in 2019 is how do you measure this? How do you measure? There's so much, anything can be measured. Anything can be measured. But then again, we shouldn't be, so it's not a hard and fast rule. There are grays. Okay. So the judges will talk about that. But yes, I think that's one of the reasons that we took this step. And there was this question about how do you do all these things, and truth awards that are in writing across all content, digital and non-digital. We are arrived in that field, and we also do a little bit. I would share a little bit is that we involve a bit of AI, okay, because especially when it comes to checking on the integrity of content. It's a learning process. So we started for this year a little bit of AI, but most of it is the human evaluation. The small part of it is integrity of content. So it's a mix, human and AI judging. But I would say 80% of it, 89% is a human
well, and
aspect.
that's fascinating because you're bringing that. Some would think like, oh, they're speaking about writing that, could sound a bit, I don't want to use the term, but maybe old fashioned so that people can
Yes,
understand. And yet you're making it so current by opening it up to digital content and then bringing the AI factor, which is
AI factor is
absolutely
very important.
fascinating.
Yeah. So it makes it easier for the judges because there's some things which are basic, integrity of content, whether it's some information is correct or not. There's some standard information about countries or about locations, about certain facts which are there. Uh, so the judges don't need to, they focus more on the embodiment of the message, and all those things. So it's a combination of both kind of judging aspects. We are designed for the future. This is for the future.
Yes.
So Dr. Kirpal Singh, my chief judge, he supported me right from the beginning, from the concept. He is a literist. I'm a technologist, combined. So it's a good combination.
It is.
We have the even the judges have come from different backgrounds, from business, political, and public speaking backgrounds, and the participants. There are multiple backgrounds. from a musician, chef, journalist, even an ex-prisoner, a wrongfully accused prisoner. Give them a voice. Um, we don't judge. We
Exactly.
look at the intent. They've
Mm-hmm.
got they've got formidable. They've got intent which is of integrity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we look at. We don't judge them. That's very important.
Absolutely.
People who are very famous. We have a human rights commissioner, and we have an unknown. So we as I said, everybody is a messenger, their own right. Depends how well they embody that message.
Mm-hmm.
That's very, very important. How close it is to their heart. How do they carry it? You need to be the book. You need to be the blog. If
Right.
you read my book or you read my blog, when you meet me, you feel it. You feel that, yeah, she carries that message very well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You live your truth.
Yes.
Yes. And I can't wait for our viewers to be able to meet the stories and the person behind each participant. That's going
Yes.
to be really interesting. Really
We have
interesting.
we have from I think 15 countries, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But the shortlisted, I think, is a bit less than that, but around 10 countries, I believe, plus minus. So the
Mm-hmm.
diversity is there.
Right.
Yes.
Amazing. Amazing. I really want to congratulate you for just creating this initiative. It's really phenomenal. Hmm.
I will also like to thank the Ambassador of Large of Singapore, Professor Tommy Koh. He is a very, very notable figure in Singapore. He was the first ambassador to give his endorsement for this before it was created. And Professor Tomiko is a leading figure, was also with the UN. So I'm blessed that I've had people of various levels supporting this. Even though it has not been an easy journey, people say to me, who cares about truth? It's so, mm, can't define it, it can't be defined. So I think it's important to sometimes take a bold step into things which you may think is too philosophical or not done before. If it has a good intention, if it has a good objective, we should do it anyway. It doesn't matter if it's not done before. It's not important. It doesn't have to be tried and tested. It should just do it anyway, and it'll unfold itself. We've seen how it unfolded itself the past year. We were not too sure. You see, we were not too sure, but it's like, the horizon appears, and then you see, okay, now I see where we're going. But we have to keep moving forward, and the picture becomes clearer and clearer.
Exactly. And the thing is, evolution comes from change and disruption. So
Yes,
that it hasn't been done before, but it needs to be done.
yes, I think so. I think so.
Amazing. Well,
Yes.
this has been such an interesting conversation. I really hope we can have you on the channel again. I know as
Okay.
founder of the awards, you are very busy, but we could speak to you forever.
Okay. All right.
Because you have such a great conversation. So everybody, please again join in the conversation. Let us know what you think of this. Share your insights. Ask your questions. We want to know what you're thinking, and we want to invite you to join us on this fascinating journey where we're going to be able to look behind the scenes and get to know the judges, get to know what they're looking for, and very importantly, get to know the participants and what makes them the right candidate for this Golden Door Awards. So
Yeah.
everybody, thank you so much for joining. And Tahira, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me today on Expert
Thank you so
Channels.
much, too. I'm very happy to share all this with you.